Alright, so there was nothing to watch in theaters this time. Like, I don't know, Wonder Park. Didn't really care to see Wonder Park, so. Mm-hmm. But what did come out on video was My Hero Academia 2 Heroes, which is the first My Hero Academia movie. Yes. And we both loved that show. And we had already seen the movie, but it was on video, and we were just like, let's just review this one.
Yeah.
That's the plan, obviously!
You just don't give up!
Detroit!
Not really any mystery on whether we think it sucks or slaps. Like, we think it slaps.
It slaps.
It
slaps hard.
It does. But there's caveats. So, like with an Infinity War, this is not a movie you can watch on its own.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just... If you've not seen at least, like, I don't know, like the first 2 seasons of My Hero Academia, you can't watch this. And there's a weird... It's weird that that's the case, because I think the biggest thing that's making me say that is they don't do the thing that they do in the show every single time they introduce someone.
Where they introduce the entire theme of the show.
Well, yeah, they introduce... they introduce the theme of the show. No, they do that. Remember, they, like, basically...
Oh, yeah,
they do a lot of recap.
They just don't do...
Dude, hang on. Just for Deku and All Might.
Yeah.
And then when other people start coming in the show, it shows their name, their power, like their hero name.
It gives a little profile.
Yeah, and it has President Mike, like, explain them. Mm-hmm. If they had just had him doing that in this movie, I think it would have made it way more viable to recommend to people who'd never seen it before. Mm-hmm. Because there's no spoilery end game stuff that happens in this. Like, there's no like the big stuff that happens in the show.
Yeah. If
it has already happened, it doesn't spoil it literally. Like, it doesn't ruin it for you. Like, you could still go back and get that. Unfortunately, there was a moment in the show where it's a good bit in the movie where Uraraka is saying, "Would you like me to use my power to help you get up?" And I was like, we have no idea what Uraraka does.
Yeah,
like,
if you've never seen the show, you have no idea.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the show, because it's like, she passingly mentions that, and I'm like, we haven't even seen her do anything like that yet.
Yeah.
So, like, what is her power? And it's not like it's a reveal as to what her power is. She just starts doing her power, and it's like, oh, what's happening? If you didn't know what was happening, it's like, what? How does that work? Why is that a thing?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of strange that they didn't just do the same thing the show does. And I meant to look this up earlier. I can look it up right now. Just to see who directed the movie. Because it has the same characters, and it, of course, has, like... It's the same, like, Studio Bones did it. But apparently a lot of studios helped with them. Mm-hmm. Like, or helped with the movie. Like, Perot, which does Naruto, was in the credits. There were a couple others I saw. Like, there was lots of people working on this movie. It wasn't like, you took an episode of the show and stretched it out for a bit and then said that's a movie.
Oh, like, yeah, there was a part where Shota used his flame side and Midoriya makes, like, a comment about it. He's like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a part where Shoto Todoroki, like, uses his flames and he says, "You're using your flames."
Yeah. But then
why are you bringing that up?
Because, like, no one knows the backstory.
Oh, yeah.
The conflict of
no one knows
his flame side.
Okay. I don't think that's super terrible, because that's kind of a passing comment that you can see as, oh, maybe there's something else to that. Because if you're watching My Hero Academia 2 Heroes, and you haven't seen the show, you're aware you haven't seen the show.
Yeah.
Like, that's my argument. And there's something like that, like, I think goes under the radar of, okay, well, I just don't know the context, but that moment isn't ruined for you.
Yeah.
But there's gaps, like when you don't know what someone's power is, and then there's things that happen in the story where it's like, well, if I knew what their power was, I'd kind of know what's going on, but now I kind of don't. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, Ida, the way he's introduced is with his power. Like, when he comes on screen, he's doing, like, the super speed. Yeah. And he's, like, in his full gear and everything. Bakugo, Kirishima, Shoto Todoroki are all introduced with their powers.
Yeah.
But with Yaoyorozu, Kyoka, and Uraraka, you kind of just meet them and they're talking.
Yeah.
And then you don't see what their power is until the action scenes start happening. Electric guy. You don't know anything about his power.
Yeah.
Kaminari, yeah.
Kaminari.
You don't know anything about his power, and then he gets his big scene where he does his power.
And it does nothing.
And it does nothing, and it's like, oh, I guess he sucks.
Yeah.
But, like, you don't know his power going into it, so you don't know why it's like, oh, this power will work. Like, you don't get that moment of, it was like, use this guy. That
Yeah.
you get from, like, I don't know, like the Avengers. And I think the Avengers you can watch cold. Avengers 1, you can watch completely, because it introduces the characters, their abilities, kind of their personality, and everything like that. This kind of just does the legwork for Deku, All Might, some of the, well, I guess those three, Todoroki, Bakugo, and Kirishima, and kind of Ida. But, and then it does, like, the movie's new characters, which is, like, Melissa, David, I don't remember the villain's name, the new villain.
I don't know.
I don't remember his name. But, like, it introduces... Bless.
Thank
It introduces him and his power. I just realized something about the villain. It's kind of a big moment where, like, All Might's getting, like, he's realizing how much of a threat this guy is. It is absolutely tied to a part of the show. So
Oh, yeah.
here's the thing. The movie's really good, and I really like it. But if you don't watch, I have, like, I guess at least the first 2 seasons of the show, you're either going to be lost, unsatisfied, and a lot of the stuff isn't gonna be, it's not gonna have the same impact.
Yeah, because a lot of the story is based around Midoriya growing into be this hero, and if you start off right at the movie, he's already like
Yeah, he's already
come into
pretty
his
competent. I didn't think
pretty
about that.
well.
Yeah, like he's already like. So what I've noticed is as the show goes on, the guys progressively end up getting their shirts torn off.
Yeah.
And it's because early in the show they're just scrawny, like, high schoolers.
Little boys.
Now they're all, like, shredded because this school is basically boot camp every single week. So, like, if you look in flashbacks, like, Midoriya, like, doesn't have a neck. And, like,
Tiny.
You get to the end of this movie where he's standing on top of a mountain, like, all battered and just totally shirtless, and it's like his neck is as wide as his ears. And it's like, yeah, I guess
They
you
do
kind
a
of...
really good job of... That's another point. They do a really good job of
That's part of the
growing
show,
their
though.
characters. I always love seeing flashbacks because I'm like, oh, tiny.
Yeah, and, you know, Bakugo used to smile.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, the movie, if you have seen the show, is fantastic. However, it's not one of those things where it's like, this is gonna be like a big moment for a character that hasn't had a big moment yet. Mm-hmm. They almost they trim the cast down to a lot of the same people that already get lots of big moments. Like, you don't have Pinky or Froppy or the Invisible Girl or Sugar Rush or the tape guy.
Zero.
Cero. Cellophane is his hero name.
Yeah.
I think. But you don't get...
You don't get Dark Shadow. Oh.
Yeah, we need more Dark Shadow.
Yeah, we
but
do.
all of those characters that... I mean, Dark Shadow has had one really good moment in the show.
It was way far in, though.
Yeah, it's pretty far in. Okay, so this isn't like a movie where a character that might be a fan favorite, or, you know, it's someone's favorite, because there's so many really likable characters that don't really get their moment to shine. This is basically greatest hits. Like, you're taking characters that have already had a bunch of awesome moments, and you're giving them more awesome moments. And, like, obviously Deku, Todoroki, I mean, Ida has a pretty cool scene. Mm-hmm. Like, it's cool. God, Bakugo has so many good scenes. But yeah, it's not meeting any needs that haven't been met. It's kind of just the all-existing need of, I need to see more of Deku blowing people up with punches. Mm-hmm. But it does meet one need. This is kind of a spoiler, though. So maybe I'll save that for later. If you haven't seen the movie yet, like if you missed seeing it in theaters, it was a very limited release. Like it didn't get, all of the time in theaters that Dragon Ball Super Broly got. But
There were 2 days for showing, one for dub, one for sub.
yeah, like that was what we got around here. And then a
Yeah.
lot of places just didn't have anywhere that was showing it. But it's now on Blu-ray in the oh god, it looks so crisp.
Oh yeah, I know.
That opening
Funimation-
segment.
The Funimation opening too.
Oh, yeah,
the
it's-
surround sound. And you're just like,
Yeah. It's like, Funimation, but with the THX feeling.
yeah,
If it wasn't clear, we watched the dub. We prefer the dub.
yeah.
But
It's a really good cast.
it's got it's such a good cast.
good cast.
And it's good because it's such a good cast of characters.
Mm-hmm.
That's good that they got such a good cast for it. But one thing that it does, one need that it does fill, and this isn't a spoiler because it's right at the beginning, is you get to see young All Might in action.
Oh.
Like his.
Wait, is he on here? Oh yeah, he's like in the.
Yeah. He's in the
Hot
hero
Topic,
part.
y'all. Go to Hot Topic, get your merch.
If they aren't out yet, but young All Might without the sunken black eyes, but like he's still like he's extremely
He's young
powerful.
and literally bright-eyed.
Yeah, and like they show this is the first time you see America
Yeah.
in the My Hero universe, and America just looks like the most 1950s comic book version of America there is. Like nothing but high rises and blue skies and like casinos, and everyone has a nice
You
car.
could tell the staff was having like a great time too. Like,
Yeah, and
they
you-
were enjoying themselves.
Yes. It's a cool, like, I keep comparing the show to The Incredibles because the hero and villain designs remind me so much of The Incredibles. Like, even some of the quirks remind me of Incredibles' powers. And, like, how that society is just, like, kind of adjusted to this.
Yeah.
The way that opening scene is paced reminds me of the scene where, like, Mr. Incredible is, like, trying to stop Bon Voyage.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that. It reminds me of that. It has a nicer ending than the one in The Incredibles, but that's the thing. Like, that opening shot is basically just like it kind of introduces Dave, but Dave gets introduced later again, and it's not like you really needed that, but I needed that.
I needed that. Yeah.
I needed that awesome, like, some of the shots where it's just All Might just, like, flying through the air, and he doesn't fly in the way that Superman flies. Like, Superman flies in a way that you think he's kind of propelling himself constantly.
Yeah.
Well, and not so much in Man of Steel, which is why Man of Steel, as much as that movie has problems, the way it makes Superman fly is awesome, because it's almost like Superman is, like, has to, like, push off of things, and then it's just like the air explodes out of his way.
That's kind of like similar to what they do in this. There was a scene where he just like goes like that.
Yeah. So, like,
Bursts himself through
yeah,
the air.
you get to see how All Might gets air control, where he's kind of like, he jumps off of surfaces, but then when he's in the air, he, like, brings his body in and, like, does, like, a body splash to,
God
like,
help.
push the air back and, like,
amazing.
fire himself down. Ooh, it's so good. But, yeah, that opening scene is something that the show doesn't really get, which is young All Might in his prime in action, like, just devastating and inspiring all over the place.
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh.
And-
It's so
and-
good.
the good thing is when this movie came out, this is kind of a spoiler.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
Should we finish up, I guess, what we had to say that isn't spoilery? Because I don't want to spoil things for people who are in the process of watching the show and aren't totally caught up.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Especially since these are kind of big spoilers that I'm thinking of.
I don't really have anything else to mention. If you have anything, you can go ahead and mention that, and then we'll get into spoilers, I guess.
I think this movie would be a 10 out of 10. I give it a 9 out of 10. That 1 point off is because Froppy isn't in it.
She gets a couple scenes, but you just see her.
Yeah, you just kind of see her hanging out outside of the action, and it's like,
Gosh.
dang it!
We need more Froppy. We got that one episode that was really good.
That filler episode that wasn't
Filler
from the
episode.
comic? Or from the
Yeah.
manga?
Oh, it wasn't?
No. That's the only filler episode in the show.
That's
and it was
amazing.
fantastic.
That's amazing.
It was so good. Like, the writer of this manga is so amazing at what he does, but the people they have on this show to write filler and whoever wrote this movie, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't him, the people who did this movie, it's like this is what we talked about this one time, but
Yeah.
the writer of the show, he has put forth such a clear ethos and worldview that if someone wants to write something for him, like, of course I want him to approve it, but it's so easy to understand his point
Yeah.
that you can just kind of, you can just pick up these amazing characters he's already made and just know, okay, well, I'm pretty sure I know how this should go, and I'll just let them bounce off each other, bounce off each other from point A to point B, and it'll be delightful. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's time to move on to spoilers.
Yeah. Okay.
So, spoiler alert. The rest of the review's over. We're just gonna do spoilers from now on. Watch the first 2 seasons of the show and then watch the movie.
Yeah.
You could probably watch the movie cold, like it'll be fine, but it's amazing if you watch the first.
It takes away
2
from
seasons.
a lot of Midoriya's character building. If you watch the movie first, you're
Yeah.
gonna see him
It's a good stipulation. I keep
have a lot
reading about
more
that.
control than he does in the first 2 seasons.
It's good to see him go from being a weakling to what he is.
That's part
currently
of
in
what
the
makes
show.
the show like so just
Yeah,
epic.
there's so much just
Yeah.
palatable growth. But yeah, okay, so now, full spoilers. This movie came out. And I'm saying full spoilers for the whole show. Like, you need to have finished season 3 and everything.
Yeah.
Just to make sure. But this movie is good if you missed seeing All Might in action. Because, he's totally retired by this time in the show, and it's been a while. Like, he's been in his, his true form, where he's just, kind of weak and damaged. And he's just a mentor now. Not only did you get to see more of older All Might, when he has to, puff up and whatever, but you get to see the young All Might. And you get to see, I think for the first time, you actually see All Might and Deku, first and only time, All Might and Deku, simultaneously fighting a villain together.
Yes.
I think that's the only time this happens, and it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Like, that scene where it's just both their fists are back, and it's just... they were crying.
Yeah,
That scene.
I'm
Getting misty-eyed.
Yeah.
Just the flames start to form at the edge of their fist, and it was making one giant fist. Ooh, so good. Also,
Ooh.
These are spoilers for the show. I'm not going to spoil the movie. I don't think we should spoil the movie, because the stuff that we could spoil, it's not super important for conversation. There is a twist, and I thought it was pretty good when we first saw it.
Yeah.
I had a feeling, the whole movie, you're like, something's up, and they're meaning to do this. Because they
evade to it pretty delicately.
evade to it. You mean allude to it? Evade means you're dodging it.
Yeah, they allude to it very delicately, but they are alluding to it.
I don't even know if it's delicately. I think it's more like just plain. It's like something's up.
Okay.
Just so y'all know.
Yeah.
Something's up. We're not gonna say what it is, but something's up. So be on the lookout. And when the twist does happen, it's not like, oh, what? It's just like, oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
And when the twist happens, things get kind of violent. So it was good for them to lean into it. I don't know if this ever happens in the show, but people get shot.
Yeah, people get shot.
And there's blood in this movie.
Someone dies.
Who dies?
The butler.
Butler?
Not the butler. His assistant.
I don't think he died.
He didn't?
No, he gets shot in the arm. No. He gets shot in the arm. The second shot, the scientist jumps in front of the way.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Never mind.
The way they framed it was that the villain definitely who's toting the gun is very clearly just a cruel person. He's gonna just, one in the head, 2 in the chest.
Yeah.
Mozambique. He's stone cold. And you don't get much of his backstory, but he has really cool powers that are really cool when they're animated. And they're animated really well. And they get more intense as the show goes on. There's a good... Not the show, the movie. There's a good progression of, the scale of the action.
Yeah.
And what I thought was cool was early in the movie, for, the first 2/3 of the movie, I was like, this is like Die Hard. They're having to, seriously get smart and, try to outsmart... And, these odds are, really inconvenient, and they're like, we're going to have to stay back, we'll hold them off, you guys go forward.
They're just trying to have a vacation, and they're
Well,
gotta...
And, the ways that they were like, well, who can do this? Or, where do we go now? We're stuck. Or, well, we're just going to have to run upstairs, guys. It's a lot of stairs. We're just going to have to run up all these stairs. There's a lot of good, low-level conflict and, problems being overcome. And by the end, you still get your big, gigantic, insane anime fight.
Yes.
Like, you still get the most over the top it can be. It's a very satisfying ensemble action movie.
Yes.
And there's the good thing about movie logic that show logic doesn't get to use. I talked about this like right after we saw it in theaters. There's, in shows you have more time, so there's more expected of you. It's like, well, where is this person right now? Well, they're over here. They could get over here, if they go this way. But this person needs them, and this person's far away. Movie logic, you don't have time to tell us where everyone is or explain everything. So movie logic gets to benefit with, like, someone's in trouble. They're going to get overwhelmed, and it's like, no, Bakugo comes from off screen and just, like, punches them out. And it's like...
Of course, they just made it out.
Yeah, it's like, where was Bakugo? And I was like, well, the last we saw him, he was like, well, we're going to go try to find where everyone is. And it's like, oh, found him now. Boom!
Yeah.
And it's, like, really satisfying. That happens a few times in the movie. Like, yeah, I mean, it happens again in, like, later on. Like, they finally catch up to them on the roof. Uh-huh. And it's like, oh, people are showing up.
Yeah.
Everyone's showing off their powers. God, it's so good.
Or when All Might shows up. Well,
yeah, the way All Might shows up. Yeah. The movie logic.
Yeah.
Because movies get to be more fun than TV shows. That's just... TV shows are fun. This TV show in particular is fun.
Very
but
fun.
Movies can just be like, well, how did they get there? It's like, dude, they just got there. Like, you use your imagination. It's not like they couldn't ever get there.
Yeah.
So it dictates, well, they got here now. And it was a super cinematic entrance. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to see this show and these characters get to use movie logic, because it's just like, it's so much fun. It's grade A, like, crowd pleasing, just really high definition, well animated goodness from start to finish.
Yep.
And I hope what they do is in a future movie we get to have characters from previous movies, because Melissa and David are technically non-canon in the show's universe, but if we get a second movie, I'd like them to be included.
Yeah, me too.
Because I did like both of their characters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know, in some fashion, I'd like to see that glove come back.
Yeah.
Because that glove is dope. But yeah. The twist felt earned and it made sense.
Yeah.
They explained that twist. So, like the motivations for the twist. Because at first I was like, oh, what? Then they explained it, I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, movies fantastic.
Yes.
If you've seen the first two, go get it on Blu-ray. We just found it at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Random Best Buy out in Tennessee. They got this anime movie. So turns out My Hero Academia is popular enough in the U.S. to where you can find that stuff easily now. I don't know if Walmart have it. You go into Walmart and it's like, yeah, you want all 58 Dragon Ball movies ever? We got all those. You want anything else? Can't help you. Sorry. Doesn't exist to us. Mm-hmm. But yeah. This is great. Highly recommend it.
Highly recommend. Go watch it. And then go Plus Ultra.
Oh, nice. Okay.